character common to almost every culture. Curiously, his methodology is remarkably consistent. It is said he eats children, preferring to prey on those that are nice.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 horror film Bagman. The film is directed by Colin McCarthy and it stars Sam Claflin. We have Antonia Thomas, Carol Vincent Roden, Will Davis and William Hope. Right, okay, the film follows Sam Claflin's character Patrick. He is married with a young son called Jake. He ends up moving back to his family house from a childhood where he believed he was being chased by the Bagman when he was a child. His dad told him this story about the Bagman living in the mines locally, sort of thing, and the Bagman, if you didn't follow certain rules, would come and steal you and take you away in his duffel bag. As a child, he completely believed this. He needed psychiatric help to kind of get over it. He comes back to his childhood house and he immediately starts to experience things. And he is terrified that the Bagman has returned, this time to take his young son, Jake. So it's up to Patrick to kind of figure out what he can do to keep his family safe and stop the Bagman. Right. What are my thoughts on Bagman? Well, I think here they had an opportunity to make a really cracking horror film, because the concept here, if you just think about it, it should be absolutely terrifying. This creature, entity, monster, whatever you want to call it, comes to steal children. And zip them up in his duffel bag and take them away. I mean, come on. How do you screw that concept up? Well, unfortunately, this film manages to do that for the most part. Now, that's not saying that there isn't some things without merit here in this film. There are. It gets some things right. But it buggers up an awful lot as well, certainly in my opinion. To start things off, it's just way too dark at times. You can't figure out what's happening, and I don't know if that's because they just wanted it to be you'd be able to hear things, like hear the Bagman or hear him zipping up and down his duffel bag, but you also want to be able to see at least something. And far too often in this film, there's power outages, if you like, or flickering lights. I mean, it's just jam-packed full of horror tropes, this one. Some of the oldest and most familiar ones, as I've said, power outages, lights flickering, and all that twaddle. As soon as someone leaves the room, something happens, and it doesn't matter where they go. They try leaving the son with the mother's sister, and that goes, sideways as well, because the Bagman will come and get you wherever you are, is the idea. So it just plays around, I think, far too often with horror tropes, this one, and it just wasn't scary. And there was a real opportunity here to make this thing really creepy, and tap into that fear we all had as children of that creature under the bed or that thing coming to get you and take you away. And it really could have worked, but they go for the PG-13 approach to making horror. And just they try and make it far too accessible, I think, and by doing that, they've absolutely made it far too tame for my liking, and far too predictable as well as to where the story is heading, so to speak. And bloody dream sequences. Well, I almost forgot dream sequences. You know, it was getting to that point in the film where I'm thinking, oh, something needs to happen here. It was getting right a bit of my nerves. You know, all you kept getting was, like as I say, power outages, lights flickering, tapping on windows, and a few zipping noises, the bags opening, and it was getting a bit on my nerves. And then there was a really cool bit that I thought, oh, here we go, this could be picking up now. And it was a bloody dream sequence. I was like, oh, that's just the icing on the cake. Another horror trope thrown in there for good measure. It just, if you like, frustrated me this because it had a really strong opening. You know, you've got this father talking to his daughter about having to grow up a little bit and maybe get rid of this rabbit toy she's got and whatever. And then we get to meet Bagman for the first time, and it's pretty bloody terrifying. And you're thinking, yeah, we could be in for a good film here, rubbing the hands, and then that's it. You don't really see anything until far later in the film, and I didn't find it particularly creepy or scary as it should have been. So, yeah, it just fortunately didn't work. I tell you what I did like though. There was the little boy, Carol Vincent Roden, who played the little son of Sam Claflin, called Jake. He was absolutely adorable. I mean, clearly he's only a little toddler, and I suspect it took them a while to get a few of the shots that they wanted. But he was so adorable. He really, really was. And he did really well in the film. I suspect he was obviously wrapped in cotton wool. But yeah, I really, really liked him. And, you know, I don't have a problem with any of the performances. There's good production values going on here. You know, it's one of those middle of the road horror films that used to come out in January, you know, that nobody's really got any confidence in. And occasionally you get a little bit of a surprise. You know, they do quite well. This isn't one of them. I don't imagine this is going to do particularly well at all because you've seen it all before. It's not frightening. They ruin what is, you know, a really good concept here of the Bagman. I mean, it's almost the Pied Piper, really, in a lot of ways. They really could have done an awful lot here with this film to make it fun and scary, a little bit of a roller coaster ride, and I just didn't buy it. And it's clear they're clearly edging towards making more as well. It's one of those endings when you're like, well, they're clearly leaving the door open. So it's one of those that could go on, but I suspect not because I don't imagine this is going to do particularly well. So, I mean, if the concept you know, sounds interesting to you, if it sounds like, you know, something you want to check out, I don't think you'll come out with this and think that was a horrific and horrendous film. I wish I hadn't wasted my time. But at the same time, you're not going to come away and think, well, that was really memorable, and I want to add that to my collection immediately either. So it's really middle of the road stuff, this one, and it's a really cool concept, I think, ruined. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Bagman if you've seen it, and don't forget to check back on the channel for plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.